Hi there, Serial Trader here. I got a request a while back to have a look at the ARK ETF, so ARKK. There's other ARK ETFs, but I'm pretty sure this is the one you want me to have a look at, and that's the Innovation ETF. Now, from the top here that we did in February, there's a couple ways of looking at this. Now, I initially was thinking, okay, we just got an A, B, C down, right? And that we were potentially working the next impulse wave up, so maybe a 1, 2, and then we'd want the 3, 4, 5. But there'd be the subdivision in development as well, so we got the 1, 2, and now possibly a 1, 2 of the 3, right? So if this is correct, we're going to take off here in fairly impulsive fashion pretty soon in a third wave. And there's nothing wrong with this interpretation, but I would like to point out an alternate as well. Now, by the way, so some trading ideas just based off of this interpretation. If you want a fairly tight stop, well, you basically just go long here and put your stop just below this level, which would be 116.54. If you want to tighten it up or have a little looser, rather, I would say ultimate stop has to go down here at 106.25. So let's just call it 106 even. That's the must hold level for this more immediately bullish scenario to take place. And then obviously your risk versus reward, since we're aiming for new highs, and your stop would even not this lower stop level, you have a pretty favorable risk reward ratio. So nothing wrong with this interpretation, but I do want to point out a potentially at least short-term bearish alternate. I think it would lead to just a larger corrective pattern, which eventually would be still bullish. But I'll show you my thinking here on that. And that's where we call this an impulse wave down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? And that's just for an initial A. And then we're working A, B, C, D. So maybe a contracting triangle B. And then we get a thrust down in the C. And let me just put in the triangle subdivisions. A, B, C, D. Now maybe work in the E of the B. And then obviously we'd be looking for a 5-wave move to finish to the downside once we complete the triangle, right? So I think this is also a viable scenario. Now, I wouldn't personally be interested in trying to short this, but if you were, it's a reasonable enough trade setup. I think you just put your stop, let's just say to be safe, right above here, 130 and change. So let's call it stop at 131, target, maybe in the 90s somewhere from the current level of 123. So if you do want to, try and short it, that is the setup. So right now, both the bullish and the bearish scenario, I can't really pick which one I think should have more weight. You just basically have to let it break one way or the other and let it reveal itself. So the safe bet is just to say, okay, well, let's allow it to break out of this range, whether it be to the upside or downside, and then maybe enter on a little breakout, and maybe your stop wouldn't be as tight, but perhaps your confidence level will be higher since you actually allowed the pattern to reveal which way it's going to break. Now, one more thing to point out before I stop with ARK here, and this is just a daily candlestick chart of ARK. Now, to me, you got this major moving average coming into play here, the 200-day moving average. So that's kind of nice. You know that a lot of institutions like to add to their positions and basically defend at the 200-day. And currently, the 200-day is actually above this little prior support level, which is the proposed, wave 1, wave 2, the initial wave 2. So that'd be 108.81. So the 200 is above that. So you could even use the 200-day as a little mental stop to basically say, as long as we remain above the 200-day, I'm going to lean into the more bullish interpretation. There's nothing wrong with that. But you can see if we do dip down and cross below the 200-day, if we do it severely enough, potentially we could get the death cross with the 50-day crossing below the 200. But that's just kind of conjecture at this point. It hasn't happened, so just theorizing. All right, so that's what I see here on ARK. looks, an equally viable interpretation, bullish or bearish short term, I just let it break and commit before you do anything too serious with it. All right, serial trader signing off.